Hey guys, today we're going to take a look at some verb basics. Grasping these simple concepts are a must if you're serious about developing your Japanese language skills, as so many grammatical concepts revolve around the conjugation of verbs. If you skip these important fundamentals, you'll find it quite difficult to do more complex things in Japanese later on. So to start with, we have three different groups of verbs in Japanese. We have what are called group 1 verbs or U verbs. We have group 2 verbs, which are also referred to as ru verbs. And our third group of verbs are what we call irregular verbs. These are verbs that don't fit into any particular pattern or formula. So how do we tell the difference between the verbs? Group 1 verbs or U verbs, generally if there is an I sound before the mus, the verb is an U verb. So for example, the verb to speak is hanashimasu. And we can see here that directly before the mus is an I sound, which is she. So this makes it an U verb. Let's take a look at a second example. The verb to drink is nomimasu. Again, we can see here that directly before mus is a mi sound, which is an I sounding hiragana. So again, this makes this verb an U verb. Group 2 verbs, or ru verbs as they're also referred to, are generally those that have an e sound or only one character before the mus. So for example, the verb to eat is tabemasu, and again we can see here that there's an e sound before mus, be. So it makes this verb a ru verb. Let's take a look at a second example, the verb mimasu, which means to look or to see. This verb has only one character before the mus, which is mi. Therefore, that makes this particular verb a ru verb also. Now, group 3 verbs are our irregular verbs, and luckily there are only 2 of these verbs. So these verbs don't fit into either of the other 2 groups that we've just looked at. You just have to remember them, and it's quite simple given there's only 2. Those 2 verbs are the verb shimasu, which means to do, and kimasu, which means to come. On our final slide are a couple of other points of interest. Verbs always come at the end of a sentence in Japanese as opposed to in English. In English, usually a verb will come somewhere at the start of a sentence. And also, the characters before must are called the verb stem. So for example, if we have a look at the verb tabemasu here, we can see that in pink we have tabe, and tabe is the verb stem. We can also see the verb stem highlighted here in blue for the verb nomimasu, which is nomi. And it's important to know what a verb stem is because in future lessons you'll be asked to use only the verb stem with certain grammatical functions. So that's about all for this topic, but if you have any questions or comments, please let me know.